how's it, guys? Thank you for joining me again in this session. Thank you for the love and support you've shown me on the previous video which I put up. And do share with your friends and families and basically your colleagues or anyone who you think might get, inspired to take on the journey of being debt free, or just, be financially conscious as well. I know money is not something which we like to talk about, as people. It's like it's in free. So I'm not saying go out there and start now share and start comparing bank balances or anything like that. But I'm saying let's be mindful. Let's be financially conscious. Let's just be aware and stop being reckless with money, especially us, the young people. We are getting paid, we're employed. Some of us, are privileged to get employment and find employment and are getting paid. We are living paycheck to paycheck. We have normalized having installments in our lives, and I have said enough is enough to that, to me personally, and which is why I want to clear out my debts in 18 months. So maybe as a summary of the video which I put down before, I've gotten a lot of feedback from you guys. Thank you for the positive feedback, and those who have made suggestions, thank you to that. And I think the first and foremost one to start with is you guys have said that you want the videos to be more informative and educational, which is why I want to now start putting up notes right here on my side on the topics that I want to talk to, and I'll also put it on the screen what I'm talking about, because when I start talking and I expand on the point and I keep on going and going and going, and you end up losing track to what I was talking about. So that's number one. Number two, since I'm going to be taking that route to be more informative, educational kind of thing, disclaimer to say I am not your financial advisor. If you want professional financial help, sit down with the person who's certified in the financial field. Right. So with that out of the way, maybe let me now summarize my point with the first video. My point was, with the first video, I broke down my debt, how the 80,000 debt is compromised, and what makes it up. I mentioned I've got my staff loan, which is at about 1.7. I have got student loan, part of the government scholarship which I got in 2011 for university, which is around about 32,000. And I have got a personal loan with the bank, which is being handled interestingly, if that's one way for me to put it, because I don't understand what's happening with it, but I have accepted the way it is for now, to say, you know what, I'm just gonna try and pay this debt off. Okay, and then that one, when I've summarized the loan itself and what the bank has done to my current account, that stands to about over 40 something thousand, and all in all, if I sum them up, they make about 80,400 and something. That's my loan. So what was my point in terms of sharing that with you guys? I was trying to say to you guys, you know what, the first point is basically to calculate your debt, identify your debt, tally up everything, start from the lowest debt you have to the highest debt you have, because that is the method in which I will be paying off the debt. I'll be starting off from the lowest to the highest, with the exception of the bank loan, because I just want to get that cleared as soon as possible. So I'm going to be throwing in everything I have towards that, but I'll save that for another video where I'm now explaining how I am personally now paying off my debt. Okay, so basically, yeah, that was the whole point of the previous video. It wasn't just for me to ramble on about the loan, it was just for me as a first step to you guys as well. If you're motivated, it's number one, identify your loan and all the loans that you have, sum them up. When you're identifying them, start from the lowest debt that you have to the highest that you have, because that's the preferred way to clear out debts, and I'll explain on the video on how to pay off the debt. So that's the summary in the first video. So now moving on to the second session which I have for you guys, I just want to talk about the journey so far. This is not the first time for me to say I want to clear off my debt. I have had an epiphany before where I've said, you know what, these debts, I don't really like what's happening. And I think another misconception I have received before, another misconception in terms of feedback that I've had before is that people think um, you're struggling, with the debts and everything. I mean, I'm sure there are some extreme cases where some people are barely making it and they're really struggling with their loans. But for me personally, that is not the case. I am still able to make ends meet and, do whatever it is that I would consider to be normal living. I'd still be able to go out on dates. I'd still be able to buy whatever that I want that will satisfy me in the meantime. You know what I mean? Because when you get money now, you get I'm rich and I'm rich now. Doesn't matter if it's $1,000, $200, whatever. That feeling that you get when you get money, you just want to use it now, and you're not considering of the future. So back to my point is that this is not the first time I'm trying to go through this journey, but this time around I've made a few decisions in my mind and in my life as well to say, you know what, I'm going to stick by this and I'm going to commit to it. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say is I know this process is not easy, and there are some things which you have to make peace with um, for you to progress in this journey. And with these three things that I want to talk about today, if you're not making peace with them, you will have a very, very difficult time to continue, making your goal of being financially free through paying off your debt. So there's three things which I want to talk about today in this video. It's basically number one, it's self-discipline. You will need that to help you through this journey. Number two, it's sacrifices, and unfortunately, this is the big one which I struggled with before in the past. Accepting that you have to make sacrifices for this to happen, and then I think the third one would be commitment. Which is also partly why I'm making these videos, just to give myself that extra commitment to say, you know what, I'm putting myself out there, and I wouldn't want to be known as the failure in the public. Okay, so let's talk about the first point, self-discipline. We all know when New Year comes around, everyone is out there screaming, New Year's resolution, I'm gonna go to the gym, New Year's resolution, I'm gonna start eating healthy, New Year's resolution, I'm gonna save for ABCD, New Year's resolution this, New Year's resolution that. And come February, by Valentine's, people have forgotten all about their New Year's resolutions. And it all has to come down to what I would say it's self-discipline. And there is no discipline without self. It all starts with you. So you have to learn to control yourself. And that's the big one. You have to learn to control yourself. There's so many temptations out there when you get your money. For me, when I get my money, there's now Pick and Pay close by to work. I just go buy wings and chips for no reason. Why am I buying wings and fries? Just because I can afford to, and I've got the extra money lying around. In the meantime, I've got like over 80,000 debt. I could have it's not that much, but I could have put that money towards it and would have done some bit of dent to it. I've spent 25 rands on, I've spent like $40 on wings and fries. I could have spent that money on paying off my debt so that I can be financially free in the future. So basically having self-control, controlling yourself, to not to have impulses. When I was doing my research, just getting myself motivated on how I can continue this journey, one of the people I saw said, you know what, adults work on a plan, and in this case being a budget, because we're talking financially, adults work on a plan, and then children act on emotions and impulse. You've now gone to the store and now you suddenly see something that you like. Oh, I feel like buying this. Why? It's not part of your plan. So just better let it pass. Just better let it slide, because it's not part of your plan. You're now acting on emotions. You're now acting on impulses. It is going to be difficult at first, but the more you start, adjusting to your situation, the more you will be able to control yourself. So one of the things which you can help yourself in terms of self-discipline is actually guarding your heart. I don't know the English translation to this, but in Swati, inhlitiyo yakho ingaphandle. That is utsanza tintfo kakhulu. You've gone out and then suddenly You've gone out on a plan to say, okay, this is going to be my budget, this is what I'm planning to do this month, and then all of a sudden, when you're now at the Gables, because I shop at the Gables, you're now at the Gables, and then saying, say KFC, I know, let me get through the drive-through. Now acting on impulses, acting on emotions, spending money which was unbudgeted. Self-control, self-discipline, it's gonna be a big one. And without sounding like a motivational speaker, but I think one of the most important thing which will help you, which has helped me in this journey, is accepting my situation as it is. I've accepted that I am in debt, but my advantage is I'm very young, and I have absolutely no excuse of letting this thing drag on. I have absolutely no excuse of making, having installments every month for such a longest time to be normal in my life. Why am I wasting away my wealth building tool by spending it on debt every month without now putting something on the side so I can live, so that I cannot live then paycheck to paycheck. Right. So anyway, so just to summarize, so with self-control, so guard your heart. Just make sure you stay away from things which will let go into how tibalekele ndikutakawela nguwe Instagram lawyer, so bona makhelwane wakho is living the life. You don't know your situation yakhe. You don't, and that's the thing. Most of us, sibona linye tinto bese siyatihawukela, and that shouldn't be the case. Exercise self-control. If I afford it, don't then go out there and start besuboleka imali. Ngishotela nje kancane. No, leave it. You cannot afford it. Work on what you can afford. We always say this thing to people like, spend less than you can earn. What the thing that you're earning, what are you spending your money on? We always complain and say good size but in reality, if you can have a look at the things that you're spending money on, it doesn't. Some of them didn't make sense. It's just stupid money decisions. That's it. That's all it is. I'm not saying people shouldn't spend money on things that make them happy, but I'm just saying, do it or you plan for. Don't just do it because you can and you can afford to, but plan for it. Okay, so let's talk about the second point in this video. So basically, it's sacrificing. So we all know there's no pain, no gain, and I think this is very important because this is where I failed before. This is where most people get demotivated, is because once they realize, they have to let go of some things in life. They have to make these sacrifices, then they give up straight, and they keep making this thing of having debt and paying installments a normal thing in their life. And I've had the same challenge before, and I feel like I'm done with that part, and I want to make things right. So maybe let me start by making some examples of sacrifices which I've had to make just so I can achieve this goal which I have. Number one, I've had to move back home, and trust me, that's not an easy decision to make. I'm fine. Sure enough, it was motivated by the fact that I've lost a lot of income, but still, it's not an easy decision to make. In fact, when I lost income, I still stayed at my place for about 2 months until I decided, what, this is not working out. I'm actually wasting money here, which I could be channeling to my living expenses. Sacrifices. It was a hard thing for me to do. I've had to move back home. I had my own space, my own privacy. I could do whatever I want at my place. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of things. I could go into details. Spending the whole week with your girlfriend, it's nice. Now I can't even do that. In fact, I was told if I ever bring a girl at home, and I'd be seen bringing a girl at home, I'd be sent. I'd be shown the gate. But it is what it is. You have to make those sacrifices. You have to make those sacrifices. And imagine, if you were in my situation, would you have moved back home? Chances are no. Some people would say no, and also this Pazutin Abantu syndrome would have kicked in at that time. Screw that, bruh. It's your own reality that you live. It's your life that you are living. You're not living for other people, and other people don't care. They don't care. When you're struggling, in fact, when you're struggling, well, that's when most people are happy. But that's just the honest truth. Is we don't really like seeing other people succeed in life. So you have to know, so you have to make those sacrifices. You're not living for other people, you're living for yourself. You want to make your future better. And that's the decision which I told myself was, you know what, I'm moving back home. It doesn't make sense for me to keep wasting money on rental when I can still move home, and it's actually closer. Home is closer to work than where I was staying. You know, and like another sacrifice which I had to make was internet. I had unlimited internet connection. Sure enough, it was terrible. Once the cap kicked in, it was really bad. But in fact, to even show you how much of the sacrifice to make, I had two internet connections. I had one at home, which was really great. It was a satellite internet connection, really great. I was paying for a satellite internet connection, which was home. I was also paying for unlimited connection. That was the Swazi mobile, which I'd walk around. You know what I mean? Sacrificing those two things gone because I felt like I was wasting money on that. In fact, I'm going to talk more about the budgeting of before I was financially conscious and after I was financially conscious, just to show that actually we are getting paid. It's the decisions what we spend money on that affect us the most, and we end up living paycheck to paycheck because we like things that give us fun, we like things that give us pleasure. But when it comes to the things that are going to empower us, we don't commit to that thing. You know? So, yeah, sacrificing. You have to accept that you have to make sacrifices so that you can then take that extra bit of money which you are now wasting, because that's what it is wasting, and put them towards the debt so that you can finish off. And now when you're using this thing, you're not feeling guilty to say, you know what, I was spending money here and this money I could spend it there. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but I hope it is. So you have to accept that there are sacrifices to be made. Like I said, we are not living the same lifestyle. We are not living the same life problems. Your challenges may be different to mine, and the things which you have to let go as sacrifices might be different to mine. But either way, trust me, there are some things which you can let go on, and then divert those fines into paying your debts out. Alright, and then I think the next point which I want to touch to is commitment. This is not the first time where I've tried to do this journey and say, you know what, I'm gonna in fact, before, what I did was just talk about it. Yeah, no, I want to pay off my debt, and I'm gonna have my living expenses. I'm gonna budget every month, and I'm gonna change the way I live. And then once I've paid all my living expenses, bought electricity, bought food, done this, done that, all the extra money which I have, I'm gonna put it towards my debt. That's what I used to tell myself before. And guess what? When month end came around. When month end came around, I got sucked back into the same routine which I was living before. Payday is coming around, and by then I am broke. I have no money in the pocket. I have no money in the bank. I am broke, and I'm anxiously waiting for the month end to come. I am anxiously waiting. In fact, I'm not patient. I am anxiously waiting for month end to come so that I can at least have some money. What happens? I do all my living expenses, and then guess what? I'm left with a shitload ton of money. Well, not a lot, because it's relative to what I earn, but I'm left with a lot of money. And then what happens? When month end comes around, I get paid, I finish paying off my living expenses, and then guess what? With all the leftover money I have, I start splurging. I start buying all the nice things, and I don't commit to what I want to do. So I've come up with this idea to say, let me challenge myself on how I can do this commitment. And I think the best way for me to commit to this thing which I have committed on is to say, I have a goal. And the goal is to be debt-free in 18 months. So that is the easy thing. So you need to have a goal that you want to achieve. And that goal should be accompanied by objectives. besides your planning and everything, you need to have your objectives and say, okay, my objectives are for me to motivate myself is I'm going to do a vlog sessions just so I can detail my journey and my experience and my feelings as I go through this thing, because the human side of this, needs to be considered. The emotional side, the mental side needs to be considered, which is why I haven't even started talking about the budgeting, started talking about how I'm paying off the debt. I want to make it clear that you need to prepare your mind to this thing. You need to be self-disciplined. You need to make sacrifices. You need to accept that you need to make sacrifices, and until you accept your situation, it's going to be hard for you. And most importantly, you need to commit to this thing, and by committing, you need to have a thing as a goal. And like I said, my goal is to be debt free in 18 months. So what is your goal? What are you what are you inspiring to do? So those are the questions which you need to ask yourself. And in terms of commitment, my friend, I need to tell you, there's no one who's going to come jump from the side of the road, who's going to come from your sister, your relative, anyone. There's a few. We don't really have that luxury, as some of us, to say, someone is going to come and, take care of our expenses for us. No one is going to commit on your behalf. It has to come from you. You have to accept your situation and then commit to it. No one else is going to commit for you. You have to commit to your situation so that you can accomplish your goals. And I'm looking forward to that feeling when I'm now like, yes, I've done it. I stuck through this and I committed and I've made my goal of being debt free. So without sounding like a motivational speaker, I think pretty much that's it from me in terms of this video. It's just preparing your mind. It's just preparing your mind to the journey ahead, because that's the biggest Achilles heel for everyone who tries this journey. We see the people when we're researching, they have gone through these things. I am going through the process now, and I'm saying these are the things which I've noted and highlighted to say, until I've got these things right, it won't work. So number one is self-discipline, making sacrifices to achieve your goals, and then number three is committing to them. Okay, so now that we've touched on the mental side of things, I think it's time we move on to the debt side. And on the next video, I'm going to discuss the budgeting, how I used to do things before I got financially conscious, how I used to waste money, the stupid decisions to make money, and then also touch base on how I make the money now, and then how I am paying off the debt and the plans. Okay, thank you for joining me, and if you're finding these videos helpful to you, feel free to recommend to the next person, because you never know who might need the inspiration. See you in the next video.